Welcome back to the podcast, you guys. We are excited to have you. Thank you so much for following us and listening to us. Just thank you for your support. Nate and I do appreciate it. It's one of our favorite parts of our job is just talking to each other, talking to you, reading your comments. We do love it. So thank you for being there with us these last few months. Today we're gonna do a part 2 of hot takes. You guys love the hot takes episode.
This is part one.
This is part 2. We did hot takes 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. But you're right. This is a different thread, I guess.
This is a different version of hot takes. We had the written by you hot takes episode, and then this is written by you within our private Facebook community. Nate did a thread. We're going to go into that thread, read the comments, and actually name names, which we're really excited about because we did not say this is anonymous. So you guys were excited for this episode. Without further ado, let's cook.
Living in a daydream. Ooh, such a sweet thing. Life on the big screen. It's such a beautiful scene, yeah.
Welcome back to the kitchen, Nathan. How are you doing?
Jacob, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just spent the last 2 days just completely glued to my computer editing, but
nice.
Don't need to tell our audience that twice. I'm sure we're all doing the
They're
exact
also doing the same thing
in January and February, and that is finishing the summer wedding edits.
The backlog.
The fall wedding edits, I should say. Yeah.
What's the worst we've ever been on our backlog?
I think it was the Italy wedding, 9 months.
How many films did we have in the backlog?
Oh, sorry.
Do you remember? How many films?
We've had 20 films in our backlog last year.
Yeah.
It was because we did 12 in June, and then
dark times.
Yeah. But we're close. I think we only have a few left.
Yeah.
So,
and it's always like when you get to the top of your backlog, you're always just saying, "I will never get behind ever again."
Yeah. Oh, it feels so.
And then
good.
You inevitably do, but you always do.
Guys, drop a like if you love having a clear backlog. I know I do.
I do too.
Yeah, I think our goal is by our first wedding of the year, which is one of our first, is in a few weeks in New York. I would love to have our backlog cleared by the time we finish that. Yeah, which is 3 weeks away.
I think we can do. Yeah, we're pretty close, honestly. Yeah,
I think so. Well, once again, I'm excited for this episode. We haven't sat down for a while. Our viewers think we sit down every week, but I'm sure it's no secret based on what we wear that we batch record these.
Yeah, that creamery hoodie is pretty obvious.
Yeah, everyone's like, wow, Nate loves that hoodie. I'm just like, yeah, he does.
No, I just wore it once for like 4 hours, and then we recorded a ton. So I think we're also gonna, we're recording one today. And then we're gonna record, we're not doing a batch here.
No.
Next week's is gonna be super relevant. Wearing different clothes. Well, hair is grown out probably a little more. Well, yeah, I'll probably still wear the same clothes.
I might get a haircut this Thursday, and then I also think this is kind of just my podcast outfit from moving forward. I wore it when we filmed our webinar, and I was like, you know what? I think this is the only outfit I'm ever going to wear on camera ever again.
Really? What are you wearing? If you don't mind me asking.
It's just the outfit I was wearing in the webinar, the black overcoat with the white shirt.
Oh yeah, that's a nice overcoat.
I like it.
Yeah, I got a haircut today, and it's not really agreeing with me. I'm just.
Sure,
you know, when you get like the haircut and it's day 1, day 2, you're kind of struggling with it. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Maybe we'll shave our heads this summer.
Man,
my dream.
Yeah.
So you guys, we're just gonna get into it because we know your time is precious, and we know you want to get to the gossip. We are ready to just dive back into cancelable takes, and once again, just to reiterate here, these are takes we're gonna be. Let me backtrack. I'm getting ahead of myself.
They're not our takes.
Correct. So today, a few weeks, I guess a week or two ago, Nate posted in our Facebook group, what are some industry hot takes that you have? We know it's usually kind of a fun thing to talk about, but we were floored at the comments that came in. I think there are over 360 comments, some replies, some original takes, only 10 likes. which means that people immediately just got triggered and went right into the comments, not even liking the post, and they just wanted to spat out their hot take.
People just want to talk, man.
Yeah, so what we thought would be fun, because you guys loved our hot takes episode a few weeks ago, is we're going to go through and read some of these hot takes. Again, not written by us. This is written by our Facebook community. And if you want to join our Facebook group and be a part of these crazy discussions, we'll link that below. But this is written by our Facebook community. And we're going to read their hot takes and let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with their take. And Nate, I think we should say their name. This is a public forum.
I think, well, it's a private group.
Private group,
but it's our private group.
It's a public-private group. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way.
Congratulations for putting you out there for the rest of the internet here. I mean, like Matthew Reed. We gotta tell Matthew Reed that these are his takes, because some of them are gold, and he deserves to be credited with his amazing hot takes. So
he does. Yeah. No, there's some incredible hot takes, and I think if you're willing to put yourself out there in a group like ours, I think you're okay being in public saying these things. So.
And again, if you're willing to potentially get clapped back on by Jason McCutcheon or Andrew Guilford or Ray Roman or some of these guys who just have great takes, then I think you're okay to be on our podcast publicly.
You've survived the worst. Yeah. Not saying they're the worst, but you've survived the elites.
So again, the Facebook warriors.
don't shoot the messenger. We're just reading Facebook comments from our Facebook group, which, by the way, if you want to join the Facebook group, we'll leave a link in the comments below. It's every once in a while we have a popping off post like that, and we enjoy these, if we're being honest.
Yeah, we do. I love these. These are fun. These
one
are
fun.
hilarious.
This one was really fun.
We're not going to get through all of them, so we're going to kind of watch the clock and see how much we can get done in 30 to 45 minutes, and then maybe we'll make a part 2.
This might be a multi-part series.
We'll see. So this should be fun. All right. So these are industry. What's funny is that our podcast editor, Tanner, is going to edit this so that our viewers on Instagram don't know that these aren't our takes, and he'll just edit them so that we're reading this wild take, and people in the comments will be like, I can't believe you think that. It's like, whoa. I don't think that. Matthew Reed thinks that.
Look at these clowns.
So it should be fun. All right, Nathan, how about you start us off?
I'm actually really excited to kick this one off with this. Okay. All right, we got our man Michael Lemley. Okay, he says, wedding videographers are making more content to impress other wedding videographers rather than on serving their couple.
Right out of the gate.
First comment is ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, first comment, most ding, of the comment. And then the second comment came in from a Nate Tian saying right on the head there. So Nathan, you clearly agree with this.
I do agree with this. I do you not? Do you disagree?
I 110%. My whole personality agrees with this comment.
I do too. Especially, Instagram Reels. Everyone's just trying to make artsy stuff for other videographers. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone wants to create a cool cinematic piece, and it pushes you in the editing room, and you want to be better. But sometimes it's not what the couple wants. And you always need to put what the couple wants ahead of what other content creators want on Instagram.
Right. Absolutely. And you should still take creative liberties and push yourself as a filmmaker and try new things and be inspired by other filmmakers and adapt your style and evolve your style over time. But yes, I do think there's this thing going around right now where everyone's trying to impress each other more than actually trying to run a successful business. And I think, let's take the word videographer out of that phrase. I think a lot of videographers are making content for the wrong person. And we talk about this all the time, is that oftentimes, like if you're trying to impress planners, or, but you're sending them reels of a couple kissing in a field in slow motion, it's like, well, that's not going to show them what you can do for their business. And so I think, videographers on videographers, absolutely. But I think also we're seeing a lot of videographers just making content for the wrong vendor, the wrong person. And I guess you could summarize that by saying that there's like a lack of intentionality between the content we're making.
I agree.
At least, not saying everybody. Guys, and also please, obviously, we're not saying everyone in the industry. We're saying the select few. And if you are taking this to be hard, it's probably you. and if you're like, oh, that's not me, then it's not you. Then you're fine. But if you're like, how dare they? Then it's probably you.
I think you were onto something there too. I think that we've said this before, is we would rather have 10 likes from 10 planners than 1,000 likes from random people on Instagram, because those people on Instagram, they're liking our stuff. Yeah, they might lead to a couple more followers, which down the road could lead to bookings from random brides that come across your page. But we would rather have just these concentrated leads from planners who every day have who knows how many leads coming their way.
Right.
So it's just about quality, I'd say, for the right person.
Absolutely.
The right audience.
Absolutely. All right, hot take number 2. This is coming from Sydney Corber. The best videographers aren't actually the best teachers because they don't take time to actually learn how to teach. Yes.
Is she?
And okay, I learned this the hard way, and I'm not saying, again, not saying I'm the best videographer, right. Not saying I'm the best teacher, but both are a skill. Not everyone who can shoot can teach, and not everyone who can teach can shoot. It's very rare to get somebody who can do both. And for me, the list is very small. I would consider Parker Walbeck a great example as somebody who can do it and teach really well. Learning how to teach is a whole new muscle you have to exercise. I mean, Nate and I always talk about our first videos teaching. The first time I was in front of a camera, it was so cringy. I had this weird voice. I looked like I was reading a manuscript. It was so dry. I had one tone. You don't really learn how to engage with the camera as if it's a person. And so it's not like to bash on people who are at the beginning of their journey, but like, you have to understand that it is something that you have to get better at, and you shouldn't judge somebody based on how they teach if they're new to teaching, because then look at your first video. It's the same exact thing, it's just a different skill.
Yeah, and I think something really important that people should realize as teachers, as educators, never really take advice from someone who hasn't been on camera before, putting themselves out there. Because it's so easy to say, oh, you are giving terrible advice, or why are you teaching this or that? When they've never sat down in front of a camera, they hate their sound of their voice, they don't know how to teach, and they realize it's a completely different skill set. They have no authority to criticize you as an educator, I'd say, because they're just Facebook warriors, keyboard warriors. So yeah, I totally agree with Sydney.
Yeah, I do too. In fact, my comment on this post that I'll repeat is the best filmmakers out there are no names, and they'll never teach because they just don't know how to do it. It's a whole different world. You really have to want and enjoy teaching. And I'm again not saying I'm the best filmmaker. I'm saying the best teacher. I have a lot of growth I'm hoping to experience over the next few years. There's a lot of things I want to work on personally, a lot of skills I want to have that I don't right now. But I do enjoy teaching a lot more than I think most people enjoy teaching. I enjoy being in front of a camera and helping someone learn something. I enjoy being in a one-on-one coaching call or in a workshop or a mentorship group. And I enjoy coaching that person, helping that person, and offering whatever insight I possibly can. And I think unless you truly enjoy that, it just makes it that much harder. Because if you don't enjoy it, then crossing that barrier that's already exists for everybody of like talking to a camera, it's just so much harder. So you got to enjoy it.
It reminds me of School of Rock, where he says, those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach Jim. One of the best lines in the movie.
That's a good one.
I don't know. It just brought it up to me. And funny, in the replies to this comment, our friend, I got a good laugh out of this one. Our friend Jason McCutcheon says guilty.
What a cocky SOB.
Implying he is the best videographer.
Yeah, Jason,
but doesn't know how to teach.
Jason, if you're listening to this, what are you trying to say, dude? That's
the
cockiest comment I've ever in my entire life. You gotta have, that's wild. My favorite is Adam Grumbo's comment, who says, and the top teachers aren't ever the best videographers. Around and around we go.
I love Adam's takes.
Yeah. You gotta, and that's why we always talk about, like, where are you on the scale of 10, right?
Right.
You're never going to be a 10 at anything. In fact, it's so, and I think Ray Roman actually said this on a podcast recently, and I really liked it. He said he gets so triggered when people say, like, just get into the top end luxury, like teaching how to do that. He's like, because in reality, 0.01% actually make it there. Think about, like, the best actor or the best, writer, the best financial, like whatever your job is, there's a very small percentage of people who actually work hard enough to get to become the best. And so you'll never be a 10. And if you are a 10, your odds are you're making crazy money and not going to be in this community. But like, you have to take where your skill sets are, whether you're, a 7 or an 8, and just know that you're going to be teaching the people below you. And you have to ignore the toxic people above you. Because for some reason, the people who might be 8s or 9s are so loud with their hatred sometimes. Hopefully they're not, but sometimes they are. So you have to always know that you're not going to be a 10, that you're, whatever you are in your journey, you can still help the ones below you. And the people above us, like we shouldn't hate on people who are just trying to uplift their community around them.
Right. I agree. Shall we move on to number 3?
Yes, is this Cooper's?
I feel a little bad or not bad. I feel a little hurt because Cooper is one of our good friends.
Yeah. What the hell,
our
Cooper?
Other good friend, Luke, hopped in and said, I almost said it. So the comment is, there are too many filmmaker podcasts these days. And that one hurts. That one hurts a little bit, but I agree.
I am hurt. And I don't hurt easy.
I agree, and I think that's a good time for us to say
agree?
This is our last episode.
Congratulations, you've canceled us.
Congratulations. Thank you, Cooper. This is it for us.
Yeah, no, feedback noted.
I said I agree, but on the other, who cares? Well, listen to whatever podcast you want to.
Yeah. And if there's too many, then just unfollow them. We live in a world where you can... We live in a beautiful world, Cooper, Mr. Thacker, where you can unfollow people you don't want to see anymore.
Exactly.
So if you don't want to see the Runaway Vows educational podcast, The Kitchen, then just unfollow it, or if other podcasts. And that way, Nate and I don't even feel like there are very many filmmaker podcasts out there because I only follow like 5.
I guess that's true.
And so it's like maybe there are hundreds more, but I just don't follow them. I don't care. Yeah. I only follow the ones that really inspire me.
There's way too much. There's a lot more podcasts in the health space, the finance space, the whatever space you're into. Cooper's really into golf. I bet you there's more golf podcasts than filmmaker podcasts. Point is, unfollow us, Cooper. But let's go golfing soon. And maybe
I've never met Cooper.
Have you really never met Cooper?
We have been friends on Instagram.
You've never met Cooper?
Sent each other weddings, referrals, associate shop for one another sometimes, lived in the same city. I've never met him in like 7 years. We've talked since 2017.
Seriously?
Yeah, dead serious. I've never met him. The FTF shoot we did with him, I wasn't on that shoot that one day. I was gone. The golf shoot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he's a great guy. He's a machine.
I know.
He's one of the few guys I still know that is rocking the glide cam.
Oh, yeah.
He does it all. No second shooter, glide cam.
Just an outdated man.
always booked, though. Always booked.
Always booked. Kid's crazy. I love him. All right.
Yeah.
Next hot take is from Adam Grumbo. Spending thousands of dollars on your wedding is one of the dumbest things a couple can do at the start of a marriage. Happy to take your money, but it's absolutely idiotic. I do think this is like valid. When you really kind of take a step back and think about it, especially the people who, it's just like a very expensive party. And most of these couples are already like living together, sometimes have, pets and kids and their lives and their jobs. And it's just like feel like this expensive out of the blue party. Right. Sometimes it's like, we understand what marriage means and we want to go for it and we want to spend a stupid amount of money to make it memorable. But
I'm still just a little undecided on this one because I'll never understand, even if I had hundreds of millions of dollars, the thought of spending millions on a wedding, just a one and done, just blows my mind. When I hear of the people getting semi-trucks of flowers and it's literally over $500K, I just don't understand. It's a completely different world, to be honest. So maybe if I was in that world, I wouldn't care because they're probably making that back the next day. But for the vast majority of people, I think they spend too much money trying to impress people that they don't really like. So I agree to an extent. It's just a different world. It's a different world.
Sure.
But like you said, happy to take it. If people want to pay your full rate and more, then absolutely. Yeah. Great industry. That's why this is a great industry.
I think he's also referring to people who are like maybe struggling for money in the first place and decide to save up all this money to throw a wedding.
I think that's what it is.
When financially it would probably make more sense to save that money so you're not newlywed and broke.
Yeah.
But it's also it's once in a lifetime, have the wedding you want,
Yeah. No,
and what it's going to cost, so if you want to spend it, I don't know. I see it.
I see it. I agree though that it's not the best financial move if you're strapped for money. Just, do a simple wedding and then save that money for a home or for your rainy day fund or whatever it is. But most people don't. They just want to throw a big party.
Yeah. Moving on.
Okay. Moving on. Luke Yamada. $5,000 is not a budget video or a cheap videographer. Neither is $3,000.
I do get a little annoyed when I hear those numbers tossed around as like budget very often. I know what they're trying to say. It's so relative to like the market you're currently in and what your price point currently is. But I agree. You could be you could be one of the best filmmakers in the world at the top of your game charging those numbers, and I would never think like when I look at your videos, oh, you're a budget, you know?
Yeah. In fact, we know videographers who have filmed A-list celebrities, and they charge less than $10,000.
Internationally.
Sometimes less than 8 or 7 or 6.
Yep.
They
one
do
filmmaker
it just
I'm
because
thinking
they love
of
filming weddings.
Right. One filmmaker I'm thinking of, award-winning, I think starting price is $4,000 to $5,000.
It's absolutely wild.
Top tier luxury too. So it's just like, you know, I do think it's relative. I do think the toxic part comes from the community, our community, everyone's communities labeling those price points as cheap. But I also think they're coming from a place of comparing it to $10,000, $15,000 budgets. And when you compare it, then the correct term is a budget version, you know, a budget videographer. And that's how planners will talk about, you know, like, oh, they don't have a $10,000 budget. They have a budget option, you know, so. But I agree, it's not cheap. I would never use the word cheap.
It's not.
I would say $300 is cheap and budget.
Yeah. I'd say 99% of people, for 99% of people, $5,000 is not cheap for anything.
No.
That's a pretty penny. Whether you're buying, you know, something in your house or a videographer that's literally just for a day, that is not cheap.
I'll disclose these numbers. I spent $600 on my wedding video.
$10,000 on a couch?
No. $600 on my wedding video and $1,200 on maybe $1,500 on our photographer. And I remember at the time that was more money than I would ever spend on anything, and I couldn't believe we were spending money on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So money is just so relative. It's just like,
and it depends what your end goal is too.
And we got great photos and great videos. I would never look back and think, oh, that was cheap or budget. You know?
Yeah. It depends what your end goal is too, because some people prefer that $3,000 to $5,000 price range because they have optimal amounts of bookings, and they might book 40, 50, 60 weddings, and someone who's at the $20,000 range might book 6, 7, 8. So it just depends. It's totally subjective to each person in each market.
We talk about this in our webinar that we're releasing, that they always you always start backwards. Like I think a lot of videographers will say like, oh, I want to make 6 figures this year, which I think is an amazing goal. That was my goal in year 2.
Yeah.
And because the first question is always like, how many weddings should I shoot a year? And it's like, well, stupid question. What's your goal? How much money do you want to make this year? And it's like, okay, well, I want to make 6 figures. I'm like, okay, well, to make 6 figures, you need to make $8,300 a month for 12 months. And if you're charging $2,000, then you have to film 4 weddings a month. That's like 1 wedding every single weekend, 52 weeks in a row. So you start to see, okay, well, now if I charge $4,000, I can cut that in half. And if I charge $8,000, I can do 1 wedding a month for the year and hit my goal. So you start to see how like it really just depends on, 1, what your goal is as an entrepreneur to make as a business that year, and 2, how much do you want to work for that goal. And then if you're like someone in the $2,000 range and you're like, well, actually, I would actually only have to shoot 12 a year. I want to be in the $8,000 to $10,000 range. It's like, okay, well, now it's time to invest in education and improving your skill sets, improving your technical abilities, and improving your networking circle so that you can do that. Because you can't just jump to that. You have to spend time to become that. But you first have to know what you want to make and how much you want to work. And Nate, you're like absolutely right. Like if you want to be in the $1,000 range and you want to film 2 weddings a week for the whole year, I know people who do that and they're so happy doing it. And so who are we? Who are we to judge, you know?
Right.
We're no one.
In fact, we're nobody. I mean, this is public information because she went in full-time filmmaker, but our good friend Kaylor Ficklin, she did 80 weddings in 1 year. And I think her price point was $2,000 to $3,000. Am I correct on that? I think it was $2,000 to $3,000. That's a very good year.
Amazing year.
$3,000 for 80 weddings. Yeah. Fantastic year.
And the most important part is that she enjoyed it. That was what she wanted.
One of the happiest people I know. I don't think anyone would complain about $240,000.
Wait, two.
Okay. Next one. Are you still keeping up with the thread?
Yeah. Devin Foster. There's way too much copy and paste going on. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not to throw him under the bus, and I hope if he's listening, I love you, and I have no ill will towards you. But I remember finding a website one time that was literally copy and pasted of my website down to the copy. It just happens. You know who started it? Landon, by the way, started it with his whole
Landon's a copy
steal like an
paster.
artist routine. Read this
Except
one
he
book,
just steals.
the first book in ever read in his entire life. Steal like an artist. That's where it all started. I'm just kidding, Landon. Kind of.
We love Landon.
Yeah. No, but there's a lot of copy and paste going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I even went so far as to comment and say I believe
that.
it's trending audio. Trending audio just makes everything so copy pastable.
Mm-hmm.
You see a trending audio because it's trending because it's a situation about, I don't know, who knows, cars or a funny dance or whatever, and then you just copy paste it, your own version.
Yeah.
Everyone just, that's all it is. I mean, we're guilty of it too. Everyone is. When we want to do a details teaser, we'll go on our Instagram and we'll scroll through the reels. We'll find something that's hopefully wedding related about details. It could be a tent, it could be a ceremony, whatever. Most likely we're using that and just doing our own version. Not to say it's wrong, but yeah, it is copy paste.
Yeah.
To a degree.
I'm done with it. I'm so sick of it. I'm done with the trends.
Yeah.
Probably should have told you this. I'm tired of it.
Yet again, welcome to another week.
I just don't even care about like viral reels anymore. I don't know. You know who's just original to a T is Fiore Films.
Love Fiore. Yeah.
And even 31 Films and Film Poets, like guys like that, they're just so original every single time. I love that.
I just don't think you need trending audio. You just find something good, and if you make a good piece, it'll show. Like people
again, what's your goal? If your goal is to have a lot
of
of followers and have your videos hit a lot of views, whether that brings in inquiries or not, then yeah, you have to jump on those trends. You will not get anywhere without it. But if your goal is to be in your own lane, then just decide to do that and don't apologize for it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Trevor McDonald.
This is a good one.
And I'm very happy he said this. Trevor McDonald says, a drone shot to begin your film is completely fine. Boom.
Oh, you skipped
one. A wedding film. What?
You skipped Matthew Reed's about the solo shooters.
Mine is showing Devin Foster and then Trevor McDonald.
Gotcha. This is where it all
so
goes
Trevor
to
McDonald says, a drone shot to begin your wedding film is completely fine with the eyeball.
Suck it, Justin Porter and Matt Johnson.
The heart hands.
Nobody agrees with you. Nobody.
Yeah. Wait, it wasn't Justin, it was Matt Johnson.
Yeah, but Justin preaches it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but yeah, we'll focus on Matt because Matt's a lot easier to poke at. No one agrees with you. I couldn't disagree more.
Wholeheartedly. It was a what's it called? When they're just trying to throw a post out there for likes and comments and engagement. It was such clickbait
posts. And everybody gave into it.
Everyone did.
I couldn't disagree, and most Hollywood directors would disagree with you. I guarantee it.
The very first thing I thought of, I'm not kidding when I read that, I thought
Knight.
of Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight.
Same.
I'm dead serious.
Inception.
For some reason, that is the first.
Yeah.
Does Inception start with a drone?
The trailer does. Every trailer does.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the middle ground. Here's where I'll agree with Matt.
Okay.
When I see films start with a drone shot, like it's it's like starting. It's like the second the piano hits the first key, it's a drone shot, and you hear vows. That's like for me misusing an opening drone shot.
Using a drone shot.
I don't know how to explain it. And
audio?
One of our videos, I have an example. We outsourced it, and the opening shot is a drone shot. And at the exact same time the drone shot opens, vows open, and this piano track opens. It just feels so bland. I think drone shots, they're used to establish location, not just to be filler B-roll. Yeah. And I think a lot of people use it as filler B-roll at the beginning of a film. But I think if you're using it as an opening shot, it should be this slow opening or a hype opening, but it needs to be intentional.
Right. Drones are definitely overused these days because everyone has a drone. And there definitely are a good amount of people that just rely on that for cool, pretty B-roll because, 10 years ago, that was the coolest thing. Oh, you got a drone. Yeah. Whoa. Use it. I want to see what it looks like. But now it's nothing special. I think it should be used 3-4 times in a film. 5? I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't disagree more. I believe that starting a wedding film with a drone is not only fine, it is 110%.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, it is nothing wrong with it. Cinematic.
My favorite posts or what I'm tagged is like someone opens a shot with like a detail of the venue and the comments, kind of pointing fun at Matt Johnson nowadays. And I always tag Matt too. It's like a shot of the venue. It's like, why are you starting off with a shot of the venue? The film's about the couple. Because that's kind of the narrative. Right. It's like, it shouldn't be a film about a drone. It should be about the couple. It's like, well, everything plays a part in telling the story of the wedding day. The wedding film, and I'm kind of articulating this as I think about it, the wedding film isn't about the couple per se, it's about the wedding. It's about the marriage. And there's a lot more to the marriage and the wedding day than just two people. It's their family, it's their friends, it's the details, it's all the things they spent thousands of dollars on that you should also showcase. And I know for me, the very first thing we booked was our venue. And so, and I also know all my couples always love that shot of the drone, showing off the venue, showing off the valley. Remember Adriana and Tyler's reaction? They always pointed at the valley drone shots. Like, wow,
Yeah, I'd say most.
So screw you, Matt.
If we're going, come on, step it up. No, I'd say most clients, if we're going back to you should be making videos for your clients, not other content creators. I would say most clients are still impressed by the drone shot.
Yeah.
So many people that we've delivered films to and we open with the drone or the drone is somewhere in the middle, they always say, whoa, look at that shot. I can't believe they got the canyon. Or they got it from this view. They love it. They eat it up. Yeah. They're not sitting back and saying, wow, why did they open up with a drone shot? Yeah. I'll take from...
And guys, to be clear, I love Matt Johnson. He's a homie. I love Justin Porter. We're not stabbing those guys. We can disagree. We can have different opinions. That's what makes this community beautiful.
Learn to disagree without being disagreeable.
Okay, I guess we're out of order, but I'm just going to read what I have next, Nathan.
Yeah. Who do you have? Who is it?
This is from Matthew Reed.
Matthew Reed.
And Matthew has some solid hot takes.
I didn't know he was such a hot take guy.
They're always just enough where you're like, let me think about that for a second. So this hot take is from Matthew Reed. Solo shooters only solo shoot to save money. Adam Grumbo claps back. Or because they've been burned far too many times on paying $500 to $700 and gotten nothing useful. Then Ryan Hinman clapped back 100%. That's why most videographers are worth millions of dollars. Just clarifying, this is a joke. I know zero videographers are worth millions of dollars.
Alexander Ma.
I couldn't disagree more with Matthew on this one. It's not the only. I think if the word "only" wasn't in there,
you couldn't disagree.
I couldn't agree. I can't agree with him. I couldn't disagree more.
You will not Okay, you will not agree with him.
I couldn't disagree more
because he says only.
Because the word "only" solo shooters only solo shoot to save money. No.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, we can't use definitives on these types of hot takes. I'm sure some might, but okay. Business 101. Business 101. Then you're charging wrong. I don't know how to say this. Then if you think that a second shooter costs money, you're wrong because it should increase your package price. So for example, and this is how I do it, and I know a lot of videographers who do this as well, successful videographers. I won't name their names because I want to throw them into this internet thing. But for example, I remember when I started charging, it was like $2,000. I was solo. I was killing it. I made a decision. I wanted to have a second shooter. That was my decision. It wasn't I wanted to raise my prices. It was I wanted to have a second camera, second videographer always with me. And I knew I had to pay them $500. So I'm not thinking, well, now I only get to make $1,500. No, I went, okay, well, now my starting price is $3,000 because now I'm offering more to my package. And so now I get to pay my second shooter and still make more money than I was before. And so if you think you're saving money by solo shooting, then you're just charging wrong and you're pricing yourself wrong.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah. I just don't get this take.
I don't either, because I want to go off what you just said too. An easy way to include your second shooter and still make money. Let's say, because back in the day, we used to work together a lot. I used to second shoot a lot for you, and you would pay a certain amount of money. Let's say you have a favorite second shooter and you know what their rate is. Let's say they charge $800 to shoot a full wedding day with you. Instead of just putting $800 into your package so that you're only breaking even, you're not making any money off that second shooter, just double it. Double it and make your second shooter rate $1,600. That way you're paying your second shooter their full rate and you're still making $800 as a managerial fee for yourself. You're a business.
Right, and you should. You shouldn't be, you shouldn't be breaking even with adding more to your package. Everything you add on, the client should be paying for it. And so, no, I disagree, Matthew. I'm sorry. I think solo shooters shoot solely because they suck at working with people. I'm just kidding.
In some versions,
I couldn't even say it with a straight face.
I was
thinking of Andrew Guilford, and I want him to hear that clip. That's why I said it, because I know you've been. Wait, what the?
I was reading the comments, so your voice was coming in, and so I just said and hopefully hoping that you were going to say something actually true, but you pulled a joke at the wrong time for me. No, so I also don't agree with it.
I'm sure there's 1,000 reasons why you shoot solo.
We know some fantastic solo shooters out there.
Oh yeah,
but definitely solo shooters do solo shoot to save money sometimes, but that's not the only reason.
Right, and Adam Grumbo, we got to have him and Justin and Patrick and I on the podcast one day, because apparently the way Adam Grumbo trains a second shooter is like military boot camp. And his take is that like most second shooters aren't even worth it because they're not, because I think we've created this like false standard of what a second shooter should do, and Adam takes a whole new approach to an additional cinematographer. So I'm writing that down. We're going to have Adam on with Patrick and Justin and talk about being an effective second shooter, because I think they'll blow your mind. I truly do. I think it'll open your mind up to a whole new way of looking at second shooters.
Man, did you read Andrew Guilford's comment in here?
Oh yeah, go ahead and read Matthew?
It. Andrew Guilford, a famous solo shooter.
And one who slays it, by the way. Go on.
Yeah, he kills it. He says, I shoot by myself and still get more footage than duo teams and save money. To that, Adam says, you're using the wrong second shooters. Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, there's no.
Well, there's been times.
There's been
times.
Yeah.
There's been times.
You used the wrong second shooter.
I used second shooters that one time I dismissed a second shooter from the wedding because he was doing so bad.
Yeah.
Another time, I get back to my computer, dumping footage. I'm like, wow, my second shooter shot a significantly lower amount than I did.
And they reverse recorded the whole thing.
And then I texted this person in our friend group chat and said, where the hell are the detail shots? Because that was your job. Like, oh, bro, I did capture those.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say his name.
All right. You're talking about in our group?
Yeah, I'm talking about Samuel Hansen. All right, moving on.
Yeah, no, I was about to say our best friend Samuel Hansen, we never hire anymore.
I've had you Samuel for 2 years.
I've sworn off using
Samuel.
Samuel.
Since the Tetons incident.
Yeah, and funny thing is, we're getting together for a boys' night tomorrow. We love him. Best friend.
I could love that guy more.
I will not use him.
That guy.
He does great on his own, great for his own work, but I'll tell you what the mark was for me when I stopped trusting in Samuel. We were filming a wedding. It was you, me, and Samuel. I don't remember what wedding. And you pop on the 50 millimeter, your go-to. I pop on the 85 millimeter, my go-to. And we're sitting there, okay, we have another person. What could we use? And we're like, yo, Sam,
wide.
Maybe toss on like a 24 or a 35. Straight face. Not even kidding. Sam says, oh, no. And it was just one of those, excuse me?
You don't want me on the 24.
Did you just say, he said, you don't want me on the 24. I promise I'll get my best work on the 70 to 200.
We're like, on a tripod? He's like, yeah, let me just walk on a tripod.
Yeah. And we did. And Sam,
that was the one.
He gets good 70 to 200 millimeter shots, but they're all the same. They're all the same.
No variety.
The first is the same as the 100th.
Yeah.
So only one of them gets used in the edit, whereas we could have really used those 24 millimeter shots.
Yeah, it was giving when Ryan wants Pam to clean the microwave in the office. And she's like, you should clean it. He's like, oh, I'll just make it worse. And she's like, how's that possible? He's like, I'll find a way. That was what it felt like. Like, Sam, use the 24. Oh, I'll just make it worse. I'll use 7200. I'm like, well, we just need wides. No, trust me. I'll get what you need on the 7200. I'm like, okay.
Wides are pretty hard to screw up if you're shooting venues.
I love that kid. I love him so much.
Love him. But yeah, he hasn't been hired since last January.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, I wouldn't trust him to shoot. I'm just kidding. He's a great shooter.
Yeah, no. He is a great
Is your next one Jason?
Next one is Drake.
Okay, you read Drake's. I got Jason's in the chamber.
Okay. Ooh, Jason's is a good one. Drake's is also a good one. Drake Buffington. Maybe we shouldn't say last names.
Too late.
Drake Buffington with a social security number of, okay, he says, abolish slow motion.
Abolish slow motion?
I disagree.
No.
I disagree. Why would you
If you're abolishing it, then you don't know how to use it. I do agree it's overused.
It is overused. It's overused, but
that
we
just
don't
means you
need
don't
to
know how to use it.
Yeah, I know. We used to overuse it. We used to only shoot in 60. But now we only shoot
very
the bridals.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we've learned that sometimes a twirling shot of the dress looks better in 60 frames.
Or even 120.
I don't care, Drake.
Yeah.
What you going to do about it?
Oh,
I'm
Drake.
Abolish slow motion. Sounds like you still know how to use 60 frames. That's what it sounds like, bro.
If Drake has one frame of slow motion in any of his films,
bro, I'm making sure we follow him right now. I'm turning on post notifications, and for the rest of my existence, I will find a post where he posts in slow motion, and I'll say, what the hell, Drake?
I'm gonna screenshot this thread and put it in his comments
every time, just for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Same with any time. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Jason McCutcheon. McCutcheon?
I think it's McCutcheon. I don't know.
You don't need to know your clients before the event to at all. Oh, let me start over. You don't need to know your clients before the event at all to make a great film. Absolutely not. Completely agree with you, Jason.
I agree.
Man, the comments are hot on this one.
They are. But I'm all with Jason.
Again, gosh, I'm like a broken record here. It just depends on what your goal is as a videography company.
It does.
If you're somebody, a good example, a virtue, let me make that clear, is Catherine from Blink Films. Her films are immersive. You feel like after you watch one of her films that you know that couple as a friend. You know their life story. You've seen pictures of their dating history. It's just such an immersive experience because Catherine, and maybe she can correct me if I'm wrong, gets to know her couples so well before the wedding day and on the wedding day. She's such an integral part of their wedding day. Another way of looking at it, which again I'm not saying is wrong, is you show up, capture the event, and you deliver a beautiful film of that event with the marriage, the wedding, the vows, and it still is personal, it's so beautiful, but it's just a different approach. And we filmed weddings where we didn't even know the couple's name until the day of, really, and didn't really get to know them at all on the day of, didn't communicate with them at all after, and they loved their film. We thought their film was very personable, and it worked great.
Some of our favorite weddings.
Some of our favorites.
Yeah. That's just who we are, though. Like, we've gone through that stage, though, of trying to be best friends.
Right.
Not saying trying. We have become close with a lot of people we filmed because we genuinely like them as human beings. But the idea that you need to, and this was always something big for me too, because I'm definitely more introverted than most people try to be, at least. Most people try to be extroverted as a wedding filmmaker because they feel this pressure that they need to be speaking up. They need to be directing. They need to be super just extra. And you don't need to. You really, really don't. Be friendly, be courteous. But the idea that they need to be your best friend, no, it's business. And I think it goes back again to what we try to preach. We are businessmen and businesswomen first. creators second. Wedding filmmakers is the medium.
Right.
And I think we need to treat it as business.
Yeah. Another
don't need to be best friends.
Story I was thinking of was our Adriana and Tyler's wedding last year. We show up, black tie, really expecting to be very kind of back row, capturing what's happening, don't intervene. But they right off the bat wanted to get to know us, wanted us to be involved, wanted us to meet their friends, introduce us to everybody. And they wanted a lot more personable approach to the day. And so we adapted and said, okay, like sweet, like got to know them, got to know their parents, had some fun chit chat. You know what I mean? So like we adapted to that. And so I think I like what you said, business first. And then if that door opens and if the couple opens that door, then jump on in.
Exactly.
And you might argue, well, it's your job to kind of break the ice and break those barriers so the couple's natural. Yes. Two things can be true at once. You should be able to break those barriers and be natural and professional at the same time. It's not like a either or. You can still be professional and super personable. J-Mac do it all the time. Perfect examples of the most personable and professional human beings I've ever met, even though he doesn't own a suit. All right.
Or a gimbal.
Or a gimbal.
Let's do, who do we got? Do you have Cherish as your next one?
I got Cherish in the chamber. You got Cherish?
I got Cherish.
Go for it.
What do you say we do two more? We're coming up on the 50-minute mark.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do two more. Okay.
Two more
Cherish
each.
Conklin, one of our favorite persons ever.
The best.
Cherish Conklin says, you do not need the dress shot. Every gown looks better on a person than on a hanger.
Cherish, say it louder for my people in the back.
100% agree. However, Jake, I paused for the dramatic effect. Jake, I was editing our webinar today, and one of our tips is getting the details, the dress shots. Putting ourselves out there here, we say we used to film the dress shot on the hanger, and we don't anymore because we prefer to film the dress on the bride as it should be, showing off the figure and the flowy dress.
Correct.
And as I was going back to edit the webinar, we have a lot of dress hanger shots.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot. And I'm not talking like from 2020.
Oh yeah, last year.
Like pretty recent.
Last year.
Pretty recent.
Yeah. Can I defend myself?
But no. Because what I'm about to say, I'm about to defend us as well. Most of the hanger shots that we got was just because it was there. We still had the dress on the bride, but the photographer just set it up in a room, and it was really pretty, and we just snagged it and we got it. It wasn't us setting up the shot, taking out time of the day to set up the hanger. We didn't do that. We haven't done that in a long time.
Correct. I will never do that. I don't think I've ever done that. It's always like the photographer, like, don't get this dress shot. I'm like, and the bride's like looking at me. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I'll get it for you. And I've actually had some brides like request that that's like one of their favorite shots, which I'm like, hey, it's your video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I personally hate it.
Yeah.
I agree with Cherish. It does look better on a person, especially the see-through dresses where you see the cups, the bra cups. You're just like, this isn't pretty.
Yeah.
Like the translucent ones, you're like, this isn't pretty at all. I'll never show those in the film, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
For some reason, I was thinking back to like our first episode. Do you remember the flower nipple queen?
Yeah. Guys,
maybe that's the
guys, that person sent us those photos. They were like, here are the photos. It was me, and I'm like, and I looked at those photos, and it was even worse than I imagined.
When you sent them to me, I am dead serious. I didn't even open it at first because it looked just like full. Like
Jake
bare
just sent
breast.
Jake just sent me a nude shot, like full naked, and I opened it and I was like zoomed in, like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's just the dress. Yeah, that was crazy. Maybe that is the only situation.
That's the time. Definitely
where if someone would have
shot
it on the hanger.
But then it was like a headless
giving the bride a heads up
with flower nipples hanging from the window.
Man, that was wild. I wish we could show that.
I feel like the flower nipple queen could be like the title of a short film.
It could be.
That
was crazy.
A24
that was a
short film.
wild picture. All right, let's move on to the next one. Do you got Adrian?
This is wild.
Adrian?
This is from, I'm going to say his full name because he deserves to be hunted for this one. Adrian Pacheco said, what?
We know Adrian, so
I don't know how to pronounce his last name though.
Yeah, but you remember him? He came to the FTF
I know Adrian.
meetup when we shot the Wet Shanty.
I know Adrian.
Okay, yeah.
I just want to pronounce his last name.
Pacheco? I don't know.
Pacheco. I'm gonna say Pacheco. Videographers are underpaid versus photographers are overpaid and overrated. Adrian, I love you, my guy, but I could not disagree with you more. That Jason is the wildest take.
I think we want it to be true because I wanted it to be true when I couldn't buzz through a certain tier of pricing. And I'm like, man,
when they only get the photographer and they don't hire a videographer.
To snap some. Yeah, exactly. It's just easier to say that a photographer's job is easier because they can watch Netflix while they edit and we can't. But
the editing part
the last time you've tried taking pictures?
Undebatable. Yeah, the editing part is undebatable. It is easier.
But I wouldn't say a photographer's job is easier though.
No. Post-production.
They direct the whole day pretty much. Post-production I'd say is.
Yeah.
But day of, I wouldn't say. No.
When I watch a photographer work, and we had Sam come and shoot photos for us one time, and he's a full-time videographer, and he dabbles in photo, and he even says like this is just way harder because you just feel a lot more pressure because you got to capture just everything, and make it pretty. And photography, in my opinion, is a lot harder for good composition than it is for video. Maybe that's just because I'm a videographer, but I feel like it's a lot harder to compose a photo than it is to rely on like maybe some pretty movement of a video and stuff like that, you know? And you have movement in the shot, so it's just like you have a crutch anyway. So no, Adrian, I'm sorry, bro.
Have you seen Adam Grumbo's recent rage rant about photographers not wanting to release their RAWs?
No.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
He was posting for like 2 or 3 days saying, if you don't feel comfortable releasing your RAWs, then your photos suck. It shouldn't be that much different in terms of composition than what the final thing is.
Well, he said that about videographers too. It's like someone's like, "Well, I don't want to show my ugly raw footage." He's like, "Well, then you're shooting incorrectly.
Man,
if your raw footage is ugly." And I'm like, "Ooh."
Adam's a wild man.
That's wild. All right, I think you should end with Dawson.
All right, let's end with Dawson. This is a hot one.
Actually,
Dawson Renaud.
I'm going to end with Adam after that. Two more.
Okay. Dawson, hopefully if my camera starts blinking, I got 5 minutes and I'll just let you know. Dawson Renaud says, Super 8mm is overdone in the wedding industry. Oh, that's a hard one to agree or disagree with.
Honestly, I don't see it that often. And the people I do see it from kill it.
They're dedicated Super 8mm videographers.
And here's my take. Every videographer should have it in their arsenal for when the client asks for it. You don't need to intertwine it every time, but it should be an a la carte item, the same as an extra hour or an extra shooter. You should have that tool ready to go if your clients want to pay top dollar for it. That's my opinion.
I think it's just a different skill set. It's fun. Sure, it was trendy, but I'm kind of throwing back to one of your memories here, Jake. It's not throwing you under the bus, but I'm bringing back a memory when we were working at FTF and we were shooting the music video, and we were in this basement shooting with Brandon and Gabe, and I forgot what the comment was that sparked this conversation, but you said, "Nah, I would never shoot film," and Gabe, without skipping a beat, says,
"Oh,
don't you know that every great DP started with film?" And it was ooh. Ooh.
Well,
I think he has a point.
I won't correct you there. Yeah, it was along those lines, yeah.
Right. So I think Super 8mm it could be seen as a way, if we're trying to defend this, it could be seen as a way to practice another skill. I wouldn't say I would use a Super 8 just to practice composition and stuff, but it could be fun just to practice something else than a DSLR or mirrorless.
In my opinion, it's the same as a 24mm lens or a 200mm or a macro lens or a 120 frames camera. It's just like a unique look. And if your client wants it, you should be able to offer it. Because let's say like they come up to you and say, we love your package and we love this videographer's package. Do you have Super 8? No. Okay, well, that person shoots just like you and they have an add-on for Super 8. I'm going to go with them. You know what I mean? So I think like you don't have to abide by it. You don't have to use it. But I do think like when that client comes along, it would be cool for you to be like, yeah, I can do that for you, you know?
Right.
But.
Right.
I don't think it's overdone. Maybe I just don't follow enough people who use it. But the people I do follow use it well. Alicia uses it incredibly well. It's like her brand. Larev has it as an add-on. And when they post about it, it just looks so good. Grumbo posts. I think it's just, I don't know.
Who cares? It's one of those who cares things.
All right, last one for now.
Follow them.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read the next just two because they're the exact same. From Adam Grumbo and Jay Hovland, our favorite people in the world. Jay Hovland is Jeffrey from JMac. Adam says, none of the people are as successful as you think they are or that they pretend to be. And then Jay says, we as a whole spend too much time worrying about what other people are doing. To end it off, you guys.
I agree.
It's wild to me when I see a thread on Facebook of someone wanting to ask a question. And again, this is in regards to just the internet in general right now. What we're living through is when we will give validation to someone in the comments without knowing who they are, what expertise they have, how successful they are. We don't, but we take that comment as like a fact. And whether it's a hateful comment or an advice comment, we think, okay, that's how you do it. Where it's like, well, hold on. That person doesn't know what they're talking about. They're giving you advice based on their limited experience. But because it's just in a comment, we all just think it's just the fact, which is a scary, I mean, it sounds like a generic cliche boomer thing to say, but like it's just a scary way that the world is right now with the comment section.
Yeah.
So
you
never know.
Yeah. I was raised with my dad telling me one thing. I grew up playing a lot of sports, and as a byproduct of that, there's a lot of bragging that goes on there. I scored this many touchdowns, or I hit this many home runs, or whatever it was. And I remember driving home one day, and it was after my dad had just spoken with another parent who was bragging about their kid. And we both knew it wasn't true because we witnessed, I was on the same team. And my dad just told me, Nate, like whenever someone tells you something, usually they're exaggerating. Usually you're going to want to cut it in half. If someone says, oh dude, I made X amount of dollars, it's usually X divided by 2 or whatever it is. It could be the other way. If they're trying to play something down because that's to their advantage, it's usually the other way around. They're making double that.
Right.
Nothing is really as it seems. And definitely in the social media world where people might have tens of thousands of followers or whatever the metric is, it's just so easy to lie about how much you make, how far your audience reaches, or whatever it is, how much your course
it's not
makes.
even like lying per se. It's just misleading. Like, for example, like those ads, it's like, I'm booking $20,000 weddings. And it's like, you booked one.
Exactly.
You know? Like book that consistently for 3 years and then I'm impressed. But if you've booked if you're booking like $8,000, but you're marketing yourself as a $20,000 because you booked one $20,000, technically, you are, but not really.
And is it really a $20,000 gig if there's $10,000 in overhead?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So it's just interesting. And then the last one that comes to mind about that topic is the Psychology of Money book. The guy says when you see someone in a cool car on the road, your people's first thought is like, oh, they're so cool. But he's like, my first thought is I don't know anything about that person other than they are $100,000 more in debt or poorer than when they bought that car.
Yep.
And you just don't know what's behind the smoke and mirrors.
It doesn't tell you how much they make.
Yeah.
It tells you they're more in debt, but they want to be seen as that sort of person by other people.
And I think our generation is really leaning into the transparency thing. We've been overusing that word a lot. But I think it's important to us. That's why TikTok is so successful, is because it's less about the edit and the polish. It's more about just like iPhone real transparency and humor, whatever it is. Like, I think that's why, that's what we're kind of all craving right now, which is refreshing.
Right.
But it'll just keep swinging back and forth.
Yeah, it's refreshing, but I was about to say, sometimes it feels like it's swinging a little too far. And this is going beyond this podcast, probably to another episode. But have you noticed now that a lot of influencers will now post these vulnerable posts because they know it's what's going to get them the most likes and attention, right? So for example, a fitness influencer posts a video of them with their tummy out and saying, this is what I really look like. It's okay to not look good. It's okay to feel like this is what life is. And you just get thousands of comments being like, thank you for being so vulnerable and posting. It's kind of seeming like sometimes it swings a little
but it's like,
too far.
Duh.
Like, we just got to find the middle zone.
You don't have a permanent pump. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this interesting Facebook question. It was like, I don't know, but basically the essence of it was there's toxic vulnerability. Like you can be vulnerable to a fault. And I think that's true too, if you kind of sit and think about that. But anyways, you guys,
we're to ever. Yeah. No, never mind. Never mind. That's a different
we're going to put a pause because I think we're going to do a part 2 of this. We didn't even get close to getting down this list.
No.
We have a lot of funny ones. So we're going to, maybe if you guys like this, we'll do a part 2. And then, if you guys want to join our Facebook group and participate in these funny discussions, we genuinely would love to have you. We have 2,000 people in our group, and it grows every day, and it's just our little community that we love, and it's fun. So we'd love to have you. We'd love to see you there.
Great. I believe.
Great.
We'll see you next week.
It's just like, all right.
I will be honest. I completely zoned out there. Yeah, no, we got what? We got 2,000 members in the Facebook group.
We should do a podcast of just all of Matthew Reed's hot takes. I'm just scrolling through his right now.
He had like 10. Yeah, he had like 10 really good ones. But you said it right. They're just enough on the edge. Yeah. But it lets you know that he's really thought about these things.
I know. Well, my first reaction is like,
really
how dare you? Well, wait, actually, do I agree with this?
He might be onto something. Yeah. But then the other side of me is thinking, who's thinking about these things?
Right.
Right? Like, I've never really thought the hot take about solo shooters only shooting to save money. But again, it's like,
yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I just had a heart attack because my audio, I didn't see the 1 hour. I just saw the zeros.
6 minute.
So I was like, oh my gosh. All right. You guys, thank you so much for listening. Like and subscribe. We appreciate your following us and just supporting us. And we will catch you in the next one.